What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One versus the World's Life is Strange podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I'm here. I woke up a couple hours ago. I'm here.
He's here. Yeah, you get the rough end of the stick on this. Usually, for anyone wondering, Adam is 6 hours behind me, so I'm recording midday in the UK, and Adam is recording like 6 o'clock in the morning. But it's currently about 7 o'clock because we speak about an hour and a half before we even start recording. It's like this kind of like, how's your life been? It's like, well, and it's like it's only been like a week and a bit. It's like, hang on a minute. Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
happened.
I tell my wife, like, there's nights before we record, I'm like, oh, I have to go to bed early. I'm recording in the morning. It's like I gotta get up early.
Yeah, we've never recorded on the dot. We always set the time at 6 o'clock Adam's time, and it's never started at 6. It's always about an hour plus. So those one day I should just hit record and then post the video as well, like what actually is said, so people can see. You're probably like, what the hell are these guys talking? It's like, what are these guys talking about? But either way,
right before I wake up, I'm just like, yeah, totally pancakes,
mate. Honestly, but either way, I hope you're all well. Thank you for joining us as always. If you are new here, I always ask this just because it's the YouTube stuff that we have to do. Is please do consider dropping subscribe, turn on notifications, like and share with your friends as well. It helps keep up to date with the content. It helps to support the channel more so, if anything, for me. That's it. Don't care about the algorithms, more that you support the channel. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can access us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. We're on pretty much everything. We won't be on Stitcher though from August. I believe Stitcher is closing down in August.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had an email come through, and they apparently are starting to wind down the service. So from August, we will no longer be on Stitcher. No podcast will be on Stitcher, apparently, from what I can tell.
That's wild.
So,
yeah, August 29th, 2023.
Yeah,
wow.
Which is we'll be losing one of our platforms there. I don't know how much we actually get from there, but usually Spotify is our main attraction, and we have over 130 followers on Spotify.
Yeah, to take a quick sidestep on that, like I remember when I first started podcasting with Games and Groceries, and everybody was saying like, "Oh, Stitcher, you gotta be on Stitcher." I'm like, I don't know a single person that listens to podcasts on Stitcher, and yet they're like, "You gotta go on Stitcher." I'm like, I don't know a single. I've never heard of Stitcher before I started podcasting, and now that they're closing down, I'm just like, was Stitcher like as big of a deal as people are saying? Leave in the comments.
So
were you listening to podcasts
that.
on Stitcher?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you mentioned that, because I always remember that everyone was always like, you have to get on Stitcher. It has to be on Stitcher with like the RSS feeds. And I was like, who uses Stitcher? So I would never access my podcast via Stitcher. I was like, I've always used them, either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or mainly YouTube. I watch pretty much all my content on YouTube. So it's like, it's weird. Yeah, but we won't be on Stitcher, just for future reference. So I will be updating the kind of like the links and stuff. But yeah, we have over 130 followers on Spotify, and it continues to rise, and we're getting big numbers on Spotify and other podcast services. And also big thank you as well. Just want to say this well, for the last 2 videos that we've had, or 3 of StrangeCast on YouTube, the numbers have been going up constantly. We've been getting high numbers for the first 24 hours. We've been getting high viewing time and high engagement on them as well. So I do appreciate that. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, YouTube, but if you are here, just know that we very much appreciate it. Very small channel as it is. So we start here with this episode. Adam, first off, I want to start with you giving me a public apology, because my detective skills were extraordinary, as revealed by Luc Baghadoust on Twitter, as I got 5 out of 6 people right. I
will say it's actually pretty wild that the only person you got wrong was a person whose face was covered. So it's like you couldn't even see their face at that point. So you got everybody else right except for one. And I remember, who was it? The social media manager. What was his name? I'm sorry.
This is so disrespectful. You tagged him yesterday on Twitter. I can see it here.
Yeah. No. I woke up 2 hours ago. It's like Marin.
I hope Marin's watching this, and I hope he unfollows you on Twitter for this disrespect. But continue.
He doesn't. Oh, he does follow me. Yeah. I'm sorry. I woke up 2 hours ago. I'm tired.
There you go, Marin. Please unfollow him, please.
It's funny.
Yes, Marin.
Another little sidestep. Like someone asked Wood from Beat 'em Ups, like, why is he always sick in his videos? He's like, I'm not actually sick. I actually just woke up and I look sick. And I'm like, yeah, I feel that. Anyways, but yeah, no, it's pretty impressive that you actually got.
By the way, in that, I've actually mentioned Baptiste before on another podcast, that we did. I believe I almost mistaken him. I think it might even be for like Gianluca that I mistook him for. But I have mentioned Baptiste before, and I think I might have mistaken Marin before as well. Like because when Luke mentioned it was Baptiste, I was like, I know that name, and it's like I've definitely said it before, and I've mistaken it completely for someone else. But I'm glad that he told us, because like I told you off podcast, I had this wild conspiracy theory that I started developing in my head. I was like, maybe Luke's like blurred out their face because it's an actor from the Montreal game, and they've been invited to the Montreal party. And I like started having this massive like fear. I was like, maybe it's like getting really deep, and I was like, maybe I need to talk about it in the next podcast episode. And then Luke popped up, and it's like, this is Baptiste, actually doesn't like to be on social media, etc. I was like, actually, yeah, I'm glad that you did that. So yes, just for context, last episode I got 5 out of 6 people correct from Montreal. Outstanding performance from me. And that also launches our new segment, Informal.
Yes. Informal segment.
The investigation, because this week we are recording on the 8th of July currently, on Saturday. And I woke up on the 5th of July to a notification from none other than Luc Baghadoust from Don't Nod Montreal, who tweeted saying, "Hey, Adnan Riaz, will you get a perfect score with a little detective and added player one versus the world, which you should follow, and you should follow all of us on Twitter, including Luc Baghadoust." And there's a picture of people from Montreal. And it was like, ooh, interesting. All from Montreal, or maybe, depends. And it's 4 people in the photo. By the way, I spent like more time zooming in on the caps in the background, because like maybe they're hiding a subliminal message for us about this new game. I'm like, I genuinely am the worst person for photos. I'm like snooping in every.
I still don't appreciate as a chef that they ate their food before they took his photo, so I couldn't appreciate the food that they ate. And I
believe it was ramen.
Yeah, that looks like ramen. Yeah, it looks like a ramen place. But now I'm really not appreciative, because I love looking at aesthetic ramen, and now it's not there. So I'm upset. I'm upsetty spaghetti, as some might say.
For future references, I will start trying working a visual feed so you can see the things that we reference. But for now, I'm not going to show you the photo. It might be in the thumbnail, potentially. I might swipe it for the thumbnail. But it will. You can go to Luc Baghadoust's Twitter page and see it. You can see it on my Twitter page as well, because I tweet about it. There is a picture of 4 people in here enjoying ramen. Adam, I will just say that I know who all 4 people are. I know all 4 people are, but I want to do this investigation segment as it is, because I want to know if you can guess who they are, because I know who they are. And as soon as I saw the person behind Luke, I was like, I know who that is. I started laughing. But I want to know if you can.
I couldn't even name you the senior brand manager who follows me.
Yeah, I hope he unfollows you. I've said this. Please go and unfollow him. Unfollow him just to prove a point.
I'm dying here.
But I wanted to know, because you should know who these other 2 people are in the photo. That's all I'll say.
I should know?
You should know.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you know what t-shirt that Luke is wearing? What game is that?
Ooh.
Yeah. That's the first thing I noticed. Do you know that game?
I don't. Shadows. Is that Shadows? What game is that?
So you're so confident, and you can't even name me the video game on this shirt. Well.
I know who these 4 people are.
By the way, the shirt he's wearing is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, from Software. Very good game if you haven't played it. Very much a not a Don't Nod game. It's a From Software game, but it's almost like a rhythm game, so it's nice.
Interesting.
So
that's
I know
a cute observation.
So I know
you can't get 2 people wrong. You can't get 2 people.
Well, I know Luke and Michel right there.
Yeah.
Michel is the one wearing Sekiro, and Luke is the one wearing the yellowish tan shirt. So that's obvious. The man looks familiar. He looks familiar, and I can't place him.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Keep in mind also, I'm terrible with names. When I was a youth pastor, I once got the senior pastor's kids the wrong name. My boss's kids' names, and I was just like, "Hey, sport." I didn't know, so I'm terrible at like recognizing people. I have no idea.
Come on, you can't be throwing me under here.
All right, the man is Wombat from the CAD-cast, and the woman is Hanatel. There's my guesses.
No, so on the photo, we'll go from left to right. And I'll say this because I mentioned one of the people on here already, and the other person we mentioned last week as well. So the person on the left is Juliet.
Is it?
Yes, the tattoos are very close to the ones that we had last time. I can't see the right one. This is why when Juliet was doing Cafe V, she has like tattoos, and I was like, can I see it on this photo? I was like, no, I can't. I was like, damn it. Yeah. I'm 99% sure that is Juliet. It could also be Kelly, but I'm gonna say it's Juliet, more so guaranteed. Then obviously next to her is Michel.
Yes,
with his dapper looking beard, very groomed, by the way. Should we just say that as well?
That's a very nice,
very
groomed,
yeah, very groomed.
It's got some volume, but it's not like scrappy, or scraggly. Yeah.
So that's those two. Then obviously Luc in the down bottom right corner, and the person behind Luc is none other than Jean-Luc.
Is that Jean-Luc?
That is Jean-Luc.
Is it?
Yes.
Wait, like
because if I would point the Jean-Luc, because if you type in on Google Jean-Luc, and look at Google Images, there is a photo of him and Michel doing a Life is Strange 2 interview. And then if you look on the right hand side of his arm with the tattoo that he has, the tribal sort, it is identical. Not to mention that when you cross reference his face, it is exactly him.
Wait. Oh my God, look at that.
There you go.
Wait. No. Wait, no. Is it? It is. Dude, wait. Sorry, I'm freaking out. It's 7 a.m. I'm freaking out.
We're dropping this podcast like badly. Probably losing numbers here.
Oh, wait. Does this mean? Wait, is he just?
We're dropping numbers here. People aren't doing that. So let me just show you. I've just sent you a photo of the one that I've seen on Facebook.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. That's what I was looking at. I was like, wait,
it's Jean-Luc. The tattoos are identical. Look at the side of his face as well. The ear.
Yeah,
like, it's him. It's Jean-Luc.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Sorry. What the heck?
That's why I started laughing when like Luc popped up with the message, because I immediately saw that and I was like, I know who that person in the back right. I was like, it's Jean-Luc, and then obviously Juliet's on the left. And then on top of that, I said to you during the podcast, we mentioned Jean-Luc, and then we did mention Juliet last week. So I was like, I dropped you hints before we even started doing this.
Yeah. Wait, is it? Yeah, it is.
It's Jean-Luc. It's Jean-Luc.
Why am I stupid?
unless he's like behind a very good doppelganger or something that I've been like thrown for a loop. That's why I said it's not. That's why I even said to you when we're doing this investigation set, I was like, it's people from Don't Nod Montreal, maybe sort of, because he's like
am I
kind of
stupid?
Like, yes,
am I dumb?
But yes, I'll leave it at that. So Adam's score was very pitiful, and obviously that I've just scored very nicely.
Okay. Wait till you see, like, if you think that was a meltdown, like if Raul Barbet ever gets in one of these photos, I'm gonna have a meltdown, dude. Like, honestly.
Well, I told you, but I hope you enjoyed that segment as well. It's very informal, and it'll be popping up here and there. So we'll go into our news very shortly. Adam, you still with me?
Yeah, partially.
So I want to give a shout out, by the way, to one of our listeners who's tuned in usually. It's Dreamwalker.
Yes.
And they held an event, which was 6 years after. I'm taking this from his Twitter feed, which was a Life is Strange 2 community meetup that was held in Seattle from the July 2nd to the 4th. I've been privately speaking to him on DMs, and he showed me a picture, which was really quite cool, that a couple of them met up. I'm not going to say the contents of the message because I don't know if you have permission. And Dreamwalker, I will respond to you very shortly. I've left you on red. I hope you don't mind with that. I've been looking at your messages. But we do plan on hopefully getting him on here, or someone from that meetup, for a little special episode like we did with Jonathan Panetta, because we want to highlight that. But I wanted to give it a shout out because it's a little special community event. And if you want to get involved, they have a Discord as well. Reach out to Dreamwalker on Twitter. You can get involved. Life is Strange 2 fraternity there. They love it as well. They're keeping that game alive. So definitely check it out. And it's just a little shout out for the community. So out of the way, as I said, but hopefully we get something planned around that, because I want to highlight it and spotlight on this channel. Anyway, Adam, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good.
Okay, so we're going to go to keep on to Don't Nod at this point, we're going to start with Don't Nod Montreal as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. How do you pronounce this person's name?
Shut up. You've had a terrible time so far. You absolutely butchered the debut of the investigation segment, and that's been absolutely butchered. I hope Luke calls you out, and I hope Marin unfollows you on Twitter as well. I'm hoping these two things happen at this point. But no, we are going to Twitter, and we're covering this because it's just more so we cover Don't Nod Montreal. I think we cover Don't Nod Montreal more than anyone else in the entire world at this point, and for good reason as well, because we're very much closely following this game and this studio for hopefully a long period of time. But I'm going to Twitter because we're into Macha Lopez, who revealed life update, quit my job. And she put adopted Zali. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Adopted Zali. Read more books recently than I have in recent years. Made the most of Lilac and Lily of the Valley season. Sitting in the sun drinking tea made from my own herbs. Might go on a road trip next week. ? Life is blooming inside out and onwards. That was on the 7th of June. And I'm not saying, did I say quit before or left? I hope I said left.
Quit my job. Yes, it says quit.
She said quit. Yeah. I said that she left the studio. But just to say that as well. And then also there was another tweet from Marsha, which said, Zali is very ready for us to start a new job tomorrow. She's been rehearsing several positions at the desk, which involve the footrest and different ear configurations. Just a context as well, Zali is the dog that she owns, and that was on the 25th of June. And then I found out that obviously that Marsha has moved on to Eidos-Montréal. So yes. Marsha is someone we mentioned quite frequently on this podcast. I've pronounced her name very much wrong on many occasions, and I've deeply apologized for that. But I wanted to spotlight that because we cover very much Don't Nod Montreal news, and I'm not going to go specifics of why she left and the reasons behind it. That's not my thing, but I wanted to spotlight someone who worked at Don't Nod Montreal, has been obviously going to have played a big part in the game that they've been working on, and you'll see her name in the credits of the game. I know Michel's been very stressed important of credits because he spoke about it with the remastered edition of Life is Strange, because they have freelancers that worked on Life is Strange 1. It's kind of like a little bit of an issue in the industry where people don't get credited on their work even if they leave the studio at any point. It's a bit weird. I've seen that, but that's probably the complete opposite of like Don't Nod. She'll definitely be there, but I just wanted to highlight it because it was kind of like, I was like it's out of the blue. It's like I can't imagine like how much she's worked on this game and how much depth she's put into it, and like the kind of time and commitment, and to move on to a new opportunity, which obviously congratulations to her for that. But I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was quite interesting news to see it. It's not complete like, it's a shock factor that someone leaves the studio. People leave all the time for different reasons and new opportunities, but it was just kind of like we've known of her through Luc and Michel and the opportunity to like that they built with Don't Nod Montreal, and had a couple of exchanges with her, which has always been quite nice. And it's just kind of like I'm excited to see when they reveal the game at Montreal, and then also to see what she was involved with as well. But yeah.
No, it's congratulations to Masha. I hope for the best, because Eidos Montreal is they're a great studio. Like I'm just remembering their games. They did the Tomb Raider series, which I loved. They did the Avengers. Well, not the Avengers game. Sorry, the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which I still rave is like one of the best Marvel games out there. Yeah. So if you haven't played Guardians, it's really, really good.
Did they do Deus Ex as well?
They did Deus Ex as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a really well talented studio. So Masha's moved on, and congratulations. The dog is good. I love dogs. My dog is beautiful. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see like her leave Don't Nod Montreal, but she's got a good job, and hopefully she enjoys this,
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, like I don't want, I'm not more about specifics of why she left or anything. It's more about this just highlighting it. And I feel like this podcast has very much highlighted Montreal as we always speak about the people that work there. I want to kind of give an identity to a lot of people, an appreciation. It's just easy to.
Do you think she quit so that you can stop calling her a green tea beverage?
Well, we'll ask Luke that one day. Imagine that.
She got tired of you.
Oh God, if that was the reason, I think I'd sit with deep regret for the rest of my life. I'd be like, oh my God.
She's like, that's it. I'm going to go to another studio where he doesn't really podcast on that. I'm done. It's over.
Should we just like switch to Eidos-Montréal to follow that podcast? So, no, but it's just like, as I said, I want to make sure that these people stayed as relevant as humanly possible in terms of the game, the studio, everything, because it's so easy to kind of just be like, I love Michel and I love Luc, and the main kind of like figureheads that they are there because they've worked on Life is Strange, but then kind of like overlook the other developers that have like kind of worked on these games and who are working on this really interesting debut game, which I imagine that we're both very, very, very excited to see. And but yeah, that's the new segment anyway. Macha, best of luck. One day, hopefully, you're welcome to come on here when the game is revealed and everything else. We'd love to have you on here to talk about Don't Nod Montreal and working on the game. Invitations there one day. Who knows? Either way, we'll move on to another piece of news, which is a very interesting one. It's a news per se, but I just thought it was a very interesting topic. I can't seem to open it. There we go. Right. So we are going and sticking a little bit on Don't Nod and also Michel.
Yes.
Because this was a very interesting piece of news and I can't find it. Oh no, Adam, it's falling apart.
I have it up if you want me to read it.
Can you please? Yeah, this is ending in disaster. After your lot of no, and then I can't open this up. But yeah, please, if you can.
Michel tweeted saying, quote tweeted one tweet from one Jess Howard saying, who is a character that someone hating is an instant red flag for you? And their answer was some person from Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Right, I'm gonna have to get in here. Let me just see if I can find this.
Yeah. I know the actress. I just don't know the character. But anyways, so Michel says another easy one for me, saying who is a character that someone hating is an instant red flag, and he's showing Skylar from Breaking Bad. Good answer on that one because hating
Game of Thrones character is Sansa, by the way. I've got it up now.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, Skylar. But more importantly,
this is the topic.
More importantly, Michel adds 2 more characters to this, and 2 more personal. And he puts Daniel from Life is Strange 2, as well as Karen from Life is Strange 2. One is instant red flag. If you hate Daniel, it's just kind of like, yeah, I get it. But
can I just say something? I liked this tweet from Michel and then unliked it and then liked it again just to prove a point. Like that's how good that's how great of this as a selection is for an instant. This is the Life is Strange 2 instant red flag selection based on this topic, because I saw Michel tweet about it and I was like, actually, it's quite cool to see him talk about like the 2 Life is Strange characters in this context.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand how anyone can, especially Karen. I think Karen is one of the greatest characters in the entire series, and especially in Life is Strange 2. I know that you've always like loved the fact that I've spoken to Jolie in that Life After Strange episode.
I think for these 2, especially Skylar, like all 3 of the choices that Michel did, what an instant red flag is for you hating these characters is that you don't see them below the surface. You're just seeing them at surface level. But like all 3, Skylar, Daniel, and Karen, you're just seeing them at a surface level. And you're not going to the depths of like why they're doing what they're doing, or what their purpose is. Like, especially Karen, out of all 3, especially Karen, if you see Karen at the surface level and you're just like, oh, I hate Karen. And just like, you don't see her as a 3-dimensional character like Michel and the whole narrative team designed Karen to be, so it is kind of those are good choices. Now Daniel is just some punk kid who just walks around with you and doesn't really add anything.
No, Michel, unfollow him. Unfollow this man. No, how are you calling Daniel red flag? You're breaking my heart here, man.
Daniel is such a red flag. Like
oh my god, Dreamwalker has him like as his profile picture on Twitter. I hope he unfollows you as well. I hope everyone in this podcast unfollow. I might unfollow you now. Actually, I'm going to do it now.
You know why? Why Daniel is such a red flag? Because he is not a red flag. Life is Strange, and now he's climbing mountains in Jusant.
He is not a red flag. Like the 2 picks that Michel picked, I was like, bang on, man. I'm like so bang on about Life is Strange 2. I'm like, they are such outstanding picks. Like, I love Karen. Like, she's in majority wise, like one episode esque, like Cassidy is. but like majority wise, like her story is mainly told in episode 4, and she's fantastic. Like the funny part, I would say the funny part is like the meaning of a Karen is so different from when Life is Strange 2 was released.
I know. Yeah.
But like
it really has. But no, these are all good choices. Like especially Karen, but especially Daniel. Again, if you look at Daniel at the surface level, not a 3-dimensional character, you know, like that's the red flag. You're not like looking at what it tells me with this whole challenge of like what's the character someone hating is an instant red flag. It tells me you as a person just see people as a surface level and you're not empathetic about others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I think like for me, I can get with Daniel a little bit early on where it's like I think he's annoying, blah blah, but it's like he's a kid. He's a kid. It's like you have to put him, you have to show empathy with him. It's like I think the early transition with like Sean in the early stages of Life is Strange 2, where he kind of like understands that he has to be the big brother, he has to like look after him, and it's this kind of this almost like little war that kind of like brews between Sean and Daniel in like episode 3. It's like he's a kid. It's like you can't hate him. It's like you can't hate him. You might think he's a bit annoying in parts, but it's like he's annoying because he's a kid. He's like he's got a kid with like superpowers. He's just lost his dad. His mum is like AWOL. It's like what do you expect's going to happen with that? It's a fantastic performance as well. On top of that, it's like I think it's a great choice. I thought there were 2 good characters that you picked there, especially just more so like a Life is Strange 2 edition. I wanted to really highlight that because it's like I've never met any. I don't think I've ever met anyone who hates Karen. I don't know why you'd hate Karen as well. It was a.
I think someone would hate Karen because someone has had abandonment issues and like they just can't forgive like someone who's like that, and like for good reason. It took me a while, like personal level here. It took me a good while to forgive my dad for abandoning me, but you know, it took me a long time. But for somebody to look at a character like Karen, like a person who wasn't ready to be a parent, you know, and left, like that person will play this game from that personal like, perspective. I'm like, no, Karen's awful because they're kind of projecting their own hurt onto this game, you know.
Well, I think
it's 7:30 in the morning, and I'm
that.
saying this.
Well, I think Karen's more elevated than that because, like, one of the scenes I say that because one of the scenes that always stands out for me is in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's that famous episode with you know, at the end where Uncle Phil hugs Will. It's like everyone raves about it. They love that scene. But it's like the entire episode's centered around Will's dad coming back, and he kind of like emotionally manipulates him a bit. It's like, you know, you can see that Will has father issues in that episode. And he has his dad come back. He's like really excited. And then it's like his dad basically does a runner again. He's like, I'm going to leave. And then he gets caught out by Will. But the entire point is that he's just not going to be there for him permanently. But what I love with in contrast, especially with Life is Strange 2, Karen accepts that she's never going to be the mum. I love that scene where she's sitting with Sean and they're having a cigarette. And she's basically going to say, like, she's like, I could never be the mother that you wanted. And I'm not going to try either now. I'm me. It's like I'm this free-spirited woman who walks from XYZ. She's like, she doesn't like butter it up. So it's like you don't see her like in the later episodes like being like, I'm gonna come to Porto Lobos with you and live with you and really take over Esteban's role, etc. She's just who she is. So it's like that's what I love about the level of sophistication and writing that they gave in Life is Strange 2. It's like actually,
well, that's
more
the point.
Than just
like why it's a red flag if you hate her because you haven't seen her from like her perspective. You're not being empathetic. That's why it's a red flag if you don't. And a red flag especially for Daniel because like he's just a kid. Like he's
just a kid. Like
there's so many situations. Again, when I was a youth pastor for 10 years, and so many adults were talking about my students as if they're like a detriment to society. I'm like, they're kids, dude. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's like you're telling me right now when you were 14 years old, you were just this perfect human being, just a delight to society when you were 14 years old. And Daniel's even younger. So it's just like, no, you can't tell me that. So, you know, step off, stay in your lane. You know, Michel is a god in the video game world and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I just thought, you know, because when you said that thing about the 14-year-old kid kind of like situation, it's why it's like one of the recent conversations we had with like Hannah Tell on the podcasts that we done, like with Kylie and stuff, and like the ones that we did StrangeCast. I always said to someone like, do you think either Rachel, Max, and Chloe are toxic, either one of them, or do you think they're all toxic? And it's like, because I've always had that conversation where people, oh, Rachel Amber's toxic and this person's toxic. And I'm like, but who is toxic? What defines toxicity? it's like I think all three of them are toxic in their own equal right, because every person is toxic. I find it difficult to say. For me personally, I think every person is toxic in their own right. Maybe it's a very cynical view I hold, but I think you are toxic in certain respects. I think it's just a part of your characteristic that you have to have. It's like no one's perfect. I don't think you can ever meet anyone, put them in the mirror and be like, oh, actually, this is a person that I fully admire because they have everything perfect, you know? Like, it's not going to be like, no one is perfect, is it?
I am watching for the first time with my wife. I'm watching Gilmore Girls for the first time. And, just a very small review. But like everybody like thought that Lorelai is like Lorelai, who is played by Lauren Graham, the main character. So like, oh yeah, she's it's hip and but when I define toxic, that's who I define as Lorelai Gilmore. And everybody's like, well, her mom is toxic. I'm like, no, her mom's right most of the time. Emily Gilmore is like most of the time Emily Gilmore is right. But then we go to the daughter. It's funny you mentioned that. Like we go to the daughter of Rory Gilmore, like the younger one. I give her so much slack because when we talk about teenagers, right? Like Rachel Amber, we talk about Chloe, and we talk about like who's toxic and whatnot. I give Rory so much slack as a character, as well as Rachel, as well as Chloe, because they're teenagers, dude. Like they're just figuring out themselves, and they're just reflecting of what their growth as a parent is like their environment. They are just trying to figure out who they are as people and just trying getting a read of their environment, much like Chloe, who lost her dad, and her mom Joyce is just trying to make ends meet. So of course she's becoming toxic. Or even Rachel, where Rachel's dad is a politician, you know, like not always around, and her mom is just being fake, and then she just finds out that her mom's not really her mom. Like it's just this weird. Or even Rory Gilmore, Lorelai's toxic, super toxic, dude. But like fight me in the comments. Lorelai Gilmore's toxic.
Well, it's like you said with Gilmore Girls, but then you brought all those examples of those characters, and the other one's like Victoria as well in the games. Like she's like Mean
her
Girls.
Parents
like
put a lot of pressure on Victoria.
Yeah, like Mean Girls 101, you very much early on hate her, resent her, blah blah. You don't like her, and then it's like you always see these like empathic moments. Like this is why the Don't Nod storytelling is really great in the way that they develop their characters, especially. It's like you always have like this misconception of each character. So it's like when you're like, oh yeah, well, Victoria's a grade A, you know. I'm not gonna say the word because we're trying to be PG at the minute for markings. But it's like, you know, you think like only negative things about her, but then it shows that there's this different side to it, and it's like actually she's just a little bit, you know, as her personality is this issue and that issue, and that's why it is with these two that Michelle picked in Life is Strange too, in this little edition that you did. It's like they both are inherently like, you might look at them like you said with like Karen, you might be like, you might have your own parental issues and be like, actually I don't like this, but it's like actually she has more redeeming factors by the fact that she's not misleading her son, and it's like she's just going to be who she is, and she's open about it, and she even gives Sean closure as well with that. She says like, you know, I'm going to be who I am, but it's like I can be someone else for you right now. I can be a friend, I can be like etc. It's like I do want to share your life, but I want to share it in certain doses that it doesn't over inflict on my life, etc. And the same with Daniel. It's like evolving every episode. Daniel is like almost like a bull in a china shop. It's like constantly with Daniel something happens. It's like one thing here, one thing there, but it's meant to happen because you're meant to see him. And I think it's too easy to make the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, Daniel's just an annoying character. I think like most out of both of them, I think it's just a very boring argument to make. It's like he's not an annoying character. It's like you think he's annoying just because he's a kid and makes like things.
He's like a kid, man. Like, you obviously have never had a younger brother. You've never had to deal with kids his age. It's just like Daniel is such, like, they wrote Daniel so well and so accurate for his age group that it's just like, it's so spot on.
And it's funny because we mentioned Daniel and we have the kind of reference point. He always reminds me, and like more so because, as I said, we've got hindsight. So he reminds me of AJ from The Walking Dead. Like I know people just,
yes.
I know people just didn't like AJ, but I loved AJ. I was like,
AJ was such a good character.
Yeah, and he reminds me of Daniel. It's like I remember that one of the favorite moments in that entire series. And spoiler, unfortunately, if you have not played The Walking Dead Telltale, go and play it. Like, where have you been? But in the season 4, where Clem gets attacked, and then it's like you go into the barn, and it lets you take control of AJ, and he's like, I'm a defender. He like gets a knife and he like walks up. And I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like, this is so cool. It's like that moment is like what I expect Daniel to do for Sean. Like Sean like fell on the floor and was like, whatever, like Daniel is going to step up. That's what he does in like different sequences. He like looks after Sean's best interest. The power that he has is like tapped into full potential when Sean is at danger. It's not about him controlling his emotions. It's about what happens to the other important person. So it's like there's a level of deep complexity to these characters. And yeah, I thought I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a very good little news segment / hybrid topic. So thank you, Michel, for that. I wanted to put that in there, and also unfollow Adam as well. Michel, please. He's been very disrespectful this entire episode.
So Marin has to unfollow me. Masha has to unfollow me. I don't think Masha follows me either.
Well, if she does, I hope she unfollows you at this point. Again, being blissfully unaware to these people who all follow you, but like, waiting for the moment of truth.
Yeah, Masha follows me. Yes.
Yeah, Masha follows you. Masha should unfollow you. Marin should unfollow you. Dreamwalker should unfollow you, and also Michel should unfollow you. So you got quite a few there. I'm just putting that out there. Anyway,
it's 7:30 in the morning, people. I'm sorry. I'm toxic in the morning.
We get up time updates here. Anyway, let's go into another piece of news, which is quite a nice one. And this came out actually on the day that we dropped the previous StrangeCast episode. I was like, timing. So this is again Don't Nod Central at the minute. Yes. They tweeted saying, "We and Bird Island Games, which is obviously previously Portaplay, are super excited to let you know that we will release a physical edition of Gerda, A Flame in Winter on Switch this autumn across EU retail stores. Not America, but EU. It will come with exclusive goodies and is published." Just interrupt me.
No, I'm so mad. Why not include Americans? We're so
you.
Well, that's the American way. We interrupt people. We're very rude.
Well, I must definitely be American because I'm just like interrupting every other instance. But anyway, let me just finish this up. It will come with exclusive goodies and is published and distributed by Meridian Games. I'm gonna say Meridian Games. And
I believe you're right. Yes.
In here we've got a little package. It's the Resistance Edition. So you have Gerda in like a nice little wedge booklet kind of thing. Some really beautiful postcards. And I believe, is that a bookmark on the right hand side?
It looks like a bookmark, yes.
Yeah, which is very nicely aesthetically quite pleasing. That actually, I like that. It's a nice like little batch of interesting goodies that you get for a little edition here.
Yeah,
but yeah, this is really cool. Actually,
I'm looking up like if there's a link to Gerda to see if like, this includes in the package here, physical edition, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's like an actual like website to see if like that is like supposed to be a bookmark, but it looks like a bookmark. It looks nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it does look like one. You got the game as well, obviously included in there. I thought this was a nice little package. I like that Don't Nod has like really supported like the living hell out of this game. This is like this was their first published game, wasn't it? That was outside of Twin Mirror, the first from an external studio.
Yep, it was the first one since Twin Mirror.
Yeah, and they've supported the hell out of this game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they support the hell out of this game. They put it on like so many different platforms. They've like released DLC for it. They now brought a physical edition out for Europe, and it's like if you're like a Don't Nod fan as well, it's like it's pretty cheap to pick something like this up.
Yes, it is supposed to be a bookmark.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, so you get a little beautiful bookmark. You get 2 Denmark postcards, and you get Gerda physical release as well. I'd like Steelbook, but I think Steelbook's just going to put the price up on it, and I don't think necessarily it's needed for this. But nice little package there. I think if you're a Switch owner, you should definitely pick it up. I still want to play Gerda at some point because it's definitely seems like something I would be interested in. Have you played it yet?
I haven't. There's been just so many games that I've been trying to catch up on. Plus, on the other wild side, I got laid off from my job, but now I'm starting a new job in next week. So a lot's been going on. So I haven't gotten to it yet. Plus, Oxenfree 2 is coming out. Oh, when this episode comes out, Oxenfree 2 comes out. So that's wild. Too many games are coming out. Way too many.
Too many games are coming out. But yeah, Oxenfree 2 I'm very excited for, and stay tuned for that. We might be doing something on that, so do stay tuned if you like Oxenfree. But yeah, nonetheless, cool little addition. Wanted to give it a shout out. Do you have anything else to add, Gerda?
Anybody that doesn't like to buy digital, it's good that they're getting a physical edition. I was just talking to somebody where I said, like, listen, like, you have no excuses. You gotta play Oxenfree because it's $2, and they said that they don't buy a physical edition for any game, like, or they don't buy digital on Nintendo. They don't buy digital, and I'm just like, well, the only physical edition of Oxenfree is now on eBay for like $200 because it was a limited run edition. Like, it's only digital. So
Damn.
it kind of sucks. So, like, yeah, if you're just a physical person instead of digital, which in this day and age, you got to support indie devs, and indie devs can't do physical editions. Unfortunately, it's just too much. If I were to do a physical edition for all my music, I'd be out of money. It's like that would be it. So yeah, buy digital sometimes. It supports indie developers just like Gerda. But yeah, but buy the physical edition too if you're so inclined. If you're in the EU but not America, I don't want to bookmark. Puh. Why would I want to bookmark? I read. I use tissues as my bookmark.
Well, Europe is obviously our main. Europe is our main demographic for this game, at least alone. So it's probably just more safer to do this. It make no sense for Don't Nod to like do like a worldwide release for this, like in terms of a physical edition. Makes zero sense about it. And on Oxenfree as well. I hope that the second game is even more popular and they do like a bundle retail release. That would be quite nice,
bro. I hope so. Like, I am. If anybody wants to send me the Oxenfree OST on vinyl, like, I'll be your best friend. That's all I'll say. I've been trying to find the Oxenfree OST just on vinyl, not even a physical edition of the game, but like everything about Oxenfree is so rare that it's so dumb. But yeah, I hope we get like a physical edition of Oxenfree 2. I don't think they announced anything, but it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on to our next piece of news. Okay, so this is very interesting news. I don't know if any people have been following this very closely. I have, because it's fascinating for many reasons as well, because I want to get paid for this. But like more so like the stuff that has come out from this is mad. So we're going to the Microsoft, PlayStation, Activision Blizzard, FTC lawsuit that is currently ongoing. But there's a certain spec of news that came out which is really interesting. It's related to Life is Strange, hence why we brought it into StrangeCast. We don't want to just branch out for no reason. So I'm going to Video Game Chronicles, and the story was that court docs reveal Microsoft considered buying Final Fantasy publisher Square Enix, which would obviously mean that the IP of Life is Strange would have gone to the Xbox brand as a part of the exclusive. So
yeah,
let me just speak about this. This was Andy Robinson on Video Game Chronicles, 28th of June. He put, yet another of Microsoft's considered acquisition targets has been revealed as Final Fantasy publisher Square Enix. Documents published as part of Xbox owners' battle against the FTC show that in 2019, before it swooped for Activision Blizzard, it considered acquiring Square Enix and its arm of Western Studios, which were later sold to the Embracer Group. So obviously it would have been even more collection of games from there. Project Phoenix, as Microsoft referred to the potential bid, was driven by the incentives to grow Xbox's influence in Asian markets and acquire Square Enix's biggest franchises, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Kingdom Hearts. Microsoft was also incentivized by what it described as a quote-unquote robust end quote portfolio of mobile games at the Japanese firm, which it believed could help drive Game Pass adoption of smart devices. On several occasions, Microsoft gaming boss Phil Spencer has publicly expressed a desire to purchase an Asian game developer, quote unquote, in particular a Japanese studio, end quote. Ultimately, the Square Enix acquisition interest seemingly did not progress. According to Microsoft documents, its filtering process involved removing studios that failed to meet certain criteria, including a lack of original IP experience, being a quote unquote follower without innovation, end quote, or a lack of quote unquote culture for end quote, or quote maturity in business, end quote. One of the exhibits shown during this week's FTC versus Microsoft federal court case was a list created in April 2021 of around 100 developers and publishers that could be potential candidates for acquisition. The full list includes studios such as Bloober Team, CD Projekt Red, Level 5, Harmonix, and From Software. I believe Sega was in there as well, apparently. 17 companies that made the shortlist. Oh, sorry,
Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17 companies that made the Microsoft shortlist included Sega, Bungie, and IO Interactive, as well as the likes of House Marquee, Remedy Entertainment, Crytek, and Paradox Interactive. So I wanted to bring that up because we're mainly going to focus on, obviously, the Life is Strange element. Because, funnily enough, I was saying this to Adam, and we talked about it for a while. We were always kind of confused about the kind of Don't Nod relationship with Microsoft.
Xbox.
Tell me why.
Yeah,
like that was always a weird, like there's just a strange collaboration. It always felt like it. Like Tell Me Why it always feels like a universal game that should be on like every platform. It just feels like that, and the fact that like that was happening in 2020, and Microsoft was having arrangements with Don't Nod, I felt like there was a sense of direction. Something was happening with Microsoft. They tried to really shift the landscape because, like, as I said, if you want to follow this court case that's between the FTC and Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard hearing, you'll hear all kinds of stuff. There's been so many details that have come out from it, like so much expose in the gaming industry. And like with this as well, like for me to know that they were trying to acquire Square Enix doesn't surprise me, because as it says in the article, Phil Spencer was always keen on having a Japanese publisher and kind of getting into the Asian market and also the mobile market as well. You know, Square Enix has had success with, you know, those kind of like Go games. It was like Lara Croft Go, Hitman Go, etc. But
yeah,
this would have also meant, had the acquisition gone through, and this is obviously predating the Embracer Group's acquisition of some of those IPs, that Life is Strange would have been owned by Microsoft, would have been owned as an Xbox exclusive, and even the next Life is Strange that could have been in development could have moved onto just a Microsoft-only platform. Madness.
Yeah, it is. I don't like, the older I get, the less I enjoy exclusives. And when I say the older I get, I guess the word I'm looking for, the more mature I get. I don't like exclusives. I get it. Here's the thing. And here's what everybody needs to understand, is that from a business standpoint, exclusive it's just a thing. It has to be a thing for your business to be what it is. In fact, I'm trying to scrounge up the money in time for Spider-Man 2 to get a PS5 just for Spider-Man 2. You know why? Because it's exclusive to the PS5. They're getting my money for a PlayStation 5 just so I can play one singular game. That's how business works. So on a business standpoint, it has to happen. However, on the people side, on the consumer side, for a game like for a game like Life is Strange with Don't Nod and all that, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like how one game like this needs to be played on one single platform. It's always bothered me, and the more mature I get, the more I'm just like, dude, can't we just like be consumers, like choose the platform we want and just play the games we want? But no, it's become such a, and I don't want to use the word monopoly in such a vague sense, because monopoly, I don't think this is being a monopoly. I think this is just being this is just being living within capitalism. You know, like you have to build capital, you have to get consumers. So it's such a weird standpoint. You know, like I get what they're doing on a business way, but on a people way, I'm just like, I'm glad that it didn't happen so that more people can play, you know, Don't Nod games. On the other side, what was the project called again? Project Phoenix. Why did they call it Project Phoenix? Which means that, like, Phoenix meaning that, like, you raise things up that were once dead and bring it back to life again. There's a lot of IPs from Square Enix that is just, they're dead in the water, you know, that they want to bring back. In fact, with the Activision Blizzard acquisition deal, like Phil Spencer said, we want to revive games that, you know, were once forgotten. I'm hoping for a Tony Hawk's Underground remaster because of this. I'm just saying, if I get a Tony Hawk's Underground, I'm going to lose my mind and I can just die a happy man. But, you know, why call it Project Phoenix if you're not trying to raise some dead IPs, or like even just dormant IPs, much like Life is Strange? So it is kind of wild the way they called it. And I'm also interested that it was before the Activision deal. Like they're saying that it was before that. So I think this whole thing is interesting, but I'm almost glad it didn't happen, because I don't like, as an Xbox person, as you see over here on this display, as an Xbox person, you know, I don't like that they're buying all these companies.
Well, the thing is, it's a weird one because like I think monopolization is kind of like becoming more prevalent than it was before. Like I was looking at a video actually like some of the PS2's golden era games. It's like we're so far away from that. Like when I was growing up, I agreed with exclusives, especially Microsoft and like Sony and Nintendo, that because the budgets were streamlined for it. But it's like with this court case, and I said like if you want to read about it, it's fascinating because like all the stuff that's come out about it. One of the big ones has been that Sony has like budgeted $200 million into big blockbuster games like Horizon and The Last of Us. And I'm like, why are these games so expensive? It's like they should never. This is like I think this is the reason why, like for me recently, I don't enjoy playing like a lot of modern video games now. Like, give me an Oxenfree any day of the week. Give me a game from like Montreal's budget is not $200 million in their game. I'm gonna throw my limb out there. I'm gonna throw my like thing out there. There's no way that game is like $200 million. It'll have a sizable budget, but nowhere near on the level. I think they're probably like maybe even tapping into like Life is Strange 2 levels of budget, and maybe even like less potentially. It depends because this is Don't Nod finance the game. But like what I don't get is like the budget and scale that they're putting into these games is too big, and it's like I think Project Phoenix, by the way, I think it refers to the idea that Microsoft is reviving the Asian influence it did. That's what I think it's like more referred to as the project for that. It's like trying to bring back its name in Japan and Asia because like Phil Spencer's been so keen on bringing that market back, and they never really broke into it. But yeah, it's like it's a weird target as well because like Square Enix has like had to sell off all these IPs to the Embracer Group. Square Enix is very critical of its games. Like it's been critical of openly of the Guardians of the Galaxy. You love it. It got critical acclaim, but they were like the sales aren't what we expected. And I'm like, really? But it's like the finance they're throwing behind it. And remember as well, we spoke about it in a couple of podcast episodes ago. Forspoken was $100 million. And it's like, how? It's like, how is that game $100 million? It's like, it should never be a $100 million game, that. But it's so much expense being put into it. So it's like, with this, it's like, I've always said that because like, we didn't do it as a topic idea, but I remember we were balancing show notes for a while, months ago. And I said that one of the topic ideas I wanted to do was an idea that if PlayStation owned the Life is Strange IP, and it's like, it's funnily enough, this has kind of come about saying that Microsoft could have like potentially owned it. I don't know if Microsoft would have kept it. I don't know if they would have like put it on Games Pass only. I think that maybe they've just released it multi-platforms. I don't know how they would have held Life is Strange. I think maybe that would have been an IP they would have been open to selling because again, it's not Western markets that we're targeting with that. It's like it's the same with the Activision deal. I've had arguments with this. They're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive. It just makes it's financial suicide. It makes no sense with that. Why would you acquire a $69 billion company and then make one of the biggest franchises in history an exclusive when it generates $1 billion so early on?
Yeah, it is kind of wild to think about it, but they are trying to get into that market, but they're going about it in a way where it's just I don't know how feasible it would be, you know.
It's just it's an interesting acquisition target that came up. I didn't think they would do it, but like I have a funny feeling that Sony is probably eyeing up Square Enix. Like they have such a close relationship in the Final Fantasy series as well. And I know Sony's always going to want to retain its Japanese influence, especially with Final Fantasy. It's like the most lucrative IP. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony eventually does try and make a move for it. But it's like this has all been obviously involved because like it does need to have scrutiny, this deal, by the way. But I do agree with the fact that Microsoft is getting scrutinized for the Activision Blizzard deal because it's the biggest in history. It's $69 billion. It's massive. But for me, personally, it should go through because Microsoft is not the biggest player in the game anymore. It's third. It's massively behind. So it's like if it owns a studio like this size, then it's for me, it's fair game like that. If we're talking this court case was Microsoft is buying Take-Two Interactive, EA, and Activision Blizzard at the same time, like we're gonna have conversations there. Like hold the phone there. That does not work there. But if we're talking specifically about this, like and more so even like Square Enix and targets like that, it's not that bad for me personally. I think like you're eventually going to get a monopolization, and you can try and stop it as it is, but it's going to happen. Like even with Sony acquiring these like little targets, Bungie, etc., you're going to be hoovering up studios because you want exclusive games. You're trying to sell it for that. And it's the same with like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to have a $200 million plus budget, isn't it? It's going to be an exclusive for PlayStation because they're trying to sell systems with it. Hence why you even think about like, oh, I really want a PS5, like just so I can play it and blah blah. But it's
just for a Spider-Man. In fact, I bought a PS4 just for the original Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Literally, that's why I bought a PS4.
Yeah, and like this is one where it's like with this, and in terms of Life is Strange, it would have been very wild to have heard that news if it would have been announced. It's like, oh, Microsoft is like owning Square Enix, and it's like, oh shit, and the Life is Strange IP is going there. It's like, damn. So that's really because I don't know what they would have done. I really don't know what they would have done with Life is Strange, like Microsoft, because it's just, as I said, it's a collection of stuff now. You have all the Japanese stuff that they can have, great, but then you have all the stuff predating the Embracer Group's deal that you could have from Square Enix that you'd own Life is Strange, for example. So it's like, what do you do with it? Do you put it in development? Do you work with Deck Nine and get another game out? Do you have a collaboration similar to what you did with Don't Nod for Tell Me Why? I think personally it would have led to the point where actually, I've a suggestion that I think had that deal gone through at the time, and then we got to where we're at now, I think that Life is Strange would have been included in the IPs that they sold to the Embracer Group. I think Microsoft would have just offloaded a lot of them. They would be like, nah, get rid of, take them off. That's it. We've had enough of this. Like Life is Strange is in a very limbo phase at this point. Like I've always said that I think the next entry is like make or break for the series in certain respects. And I wouldn't be surprised that one day that IP gets sold on, and then I think very much Don't Know would very much look at that as an opportunity. I don't think they would throw millions of dollars or something at it, but I think they would be like willing to cough up a lot of money to get that IP back if it was possible. But it wouldn't surprise me if someone else took it first. But it's a weird one, that, but interesting story nonetheless. That, do you have anything else to add?
Oh yeah. Not too much. No, I'm just it's interesting. I'm also interested that they were considering buying From Software. That's really wild, but I didn't know that. Yeah, but
From Software's a wild target.
Yeah, but Xbox be nom, so here we go.
Indeed. Yeah. Before we go on, this is a completely off topic. So I want to ask you: do you think they're going to take the acquisition through? So the deadline's coming up very soon. I think it's the 17th or 18th of July. And they're waiting for this court case. So basically, for context, anyone wondering, and just give you context on it in the entire scenario, the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission in the US, is blocking the deal for Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard. They can't outright block it. They have to sue Microsoft. So basically, what's happened here is that they're now asking for a preliminary injunction. This is why the court case has happened. They're requesting a judge say, you cannot make the merger go through. So that's why this is all based on a PI, preliminary injunction. So FTC is fighting on that case. Microsoft has set a deadline with Activision this month for the acquisition to be complete. I think it's like the 17th, 18th, 19th of July. Because if it doesn't happen, then there's a breakaway fee, which Microsoft has to pay $3 billion to Activision.
Yes.
And the deal is off. And in the court, basically, Microsoft and Activision, Bobby Kotick as well, they've all said basically that if this preliminary injunction happens, the deal is pretty much dead in the water because they can't spend the time that the Federal Trade Commission will do subsequently to build its case to get everything done. It could take like up to 15 plus months at this point. So it's like, it's a really hit and miss deal at this point because like you've had one outright block from the UK, the UK's regulator, CMA. The FTC is trying to sue it. Canada has some reservations about it. New Zealand has said similar things, but I think New Zealand's just kind of following the crowd. And then you've had about 40 countries that have approved it. Obviously, the main block, which is the EU, that has approved the deal. So it's like all over the place. So probably next week, by the time this episode drops, I think you'll hear from the case of like what happens if the injunction is done or not. It's like that's
to answer your question. I don't think it's going through. I don't think so. No, and for one simple case, I think I've told you this story before. Both Coca-Cola and Pepsi cannot legally allow to buy Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
They can't buy the company because it would be too powerful in the soda game. Yeah. The FTC won't allow Pepsi or Coke to acquire Dr. Pepper because of soda. You're telling me that in a land of entertainment, right, that a corporation as big as Microsoft and Activision, you're telling me that if Pepsi or Coke can't buy Dr. Pepper, that they're going to allow, like, yeah, totally, yeah, you can buy Activision Blizzard. It's not going to happen. Like at this rate, I don't see it happening. If my student loans can't get forgiven, this court case can't get forgiven.
It's a really hard one because like I think a lot of this is built on the idea that like monopolies become big in terms of like when you had Meta, for example,
for cloud gaming. Like
well,
it's all
it
because
depends
of
on like
yeah.
Yeah, like cause that's why I think it can go through though. I think the injunction might not go through for them because like
Yeah.
their argument is, and because in the court case I listened to at one point, they said like the judge was like, I don't care if it harms my Sony. I care more about harming consumers. Your argument is that you're blocking the deal because cloud gaming is going to harm consumers. She's like, I don't care about Sony. It's like stop mentioning them. So it's like that's the argument that has to be proven here. And obviously at this point, it's like Microsoft has like the world's best lawyers as well that they pay for extortionately. So it's like, you know, they got a lot of firepower in that court case. It's like it's going to be a make or break. It's a big decision as well. It's a landmark decision to be made on that. But I think it's like it's been set because like when you said with Coke and Pepsi, it's been set mainly for me. What I see the precedent is almost like it's because Meta bought Instagram for like nothing, for barely anything, and it's now become like a monopoly in social media. It's like if Meta tried to even go for Snapchat, for example, hypothetically speaking, Snapchat almost like goes into administration, bankruptcy, and stuff. I don't think any regulator would let Meta take control of that platform.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Coke, as you said. So, same with Coke and Pepsi. If Coke and Pepsi own any more of the market, like, come on. Like, imagine if one of them tried to buy Monster, for example.
Yeah. No, it's just, it's all just insanity. But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's going through. I don't think it is. As much as I want a Tony Hawk's Underground remaster, it's just not going to happen. As much as I want Crash Bandicoot on Game Pass, I have not bought Crash Bandicoot because I'm like, what if it comes on Game Pass? You know, like, as much as I want all this, I think in terms of logistics and where this court case is all going financially, don't think it's going to go through. I really don't.
Yeah, it's a wild one. It's just wild when you say those kind of games as well. It's wild just even think like Life is Strange comes to Games Pass day one and launch. If it would be like, why? That's just like a wild thing in my head. But yeah, that's it. That's all the news. I'm glad that you all enjoyed this so far. It's been a little bit of a train wreck podcast for me personally, like, you know, just been like fluffing here and there. But either way, we're here.
Yeah.
The main topic. This is a very light-hearted topic. I didn't want to make anything bigger and deeper. And Adam kind of laughed at it as well. Do you want to read the topic idea out?
What is the Life is Strange? What Life is Strange character would be your spirit animal? What?
It's a great topic idea.
I mean, I've got one in mind, but yeah.
Go on. It's a topic.
Pompidou. Pompidou is my spirit animal.
Oh, you got called out in the last episode by Showbiz Stan.
I know. I just whatever.
Your track record's awful. Was it 7:30 then as well when you were doing that you made that mistake?
No, I think we recorded that in the afternoon. I think that
exactly.
I can't remember. I know it was like 1 or 2 episodes ago that you allowed me to sleep in.
Yeah.
Graced me with sleep.
I was like, he can sleep. Give him permission.
Yeah, it's like, have you said like, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Besides Pompidou being my spirit animal, man, okay. So how do you define a spirit animal? Like I always hear this around, and I'm just like,
okay. So if you want me to define a spirit animal, like, do you know like how Obi-Wan projects himself as like a Force ghost to Luke? It's like imagine you're in the Sahara Desert and you had like, you know, you were dying of thirst and you had like this kind of like, you know, you're just seeing things. That's when your spirit animal emerges and you're like, that's the person that I deeply relate to. Like, you know how spirit animals is a core theme of like Life is Strange, like the earlier games as well, especially. And like each character is like associated with a certain animal. And like, this is for you in terms of the animal is replaced with the character instead. The Life is Strange character you'd see in your like moments because you like deeply relate to them or like have some kind of spirit animal connection. That's how I pitched it. As I said just before as well, people, as I said, it's a bit of a train wreck podcast so far. So like, I hope you enjoy this as well. This is one of the segments as well to go with it.
Can I guess yours?
Yeah, go on.
Is it Samuel?
Whoa, where got Samuel from?
Because you're so connected to nature and you love animals and sprinklers.
A little bit, but I'm not as chilled as Samuel, unfortunately. He's too chilled compared to me. He can unwind. I'm like stressed out 24/7 a day. So
if I was to guess your spirit animal, it would be if not Rachel Amber, probably Man, who am I thinking of? I'm trying to think of somebody that you would relate to in Life is Strange. Do you have somebody in mind
Yeah,
besides Rachel Amber?
it's not Rachel Amber.
Okay. Man, I'm gonna say so somebody who's it's not Brooke. Is it Brooke? The one who's just always flying.
Brooke.
Yeah, Brooke is the one. Yeah, who
Yeah, no,
hates
it's not Brooke.
Max
It's
for
not
no
Brooke. No,
reason.
no.
It's just
No,
an
no, no.
hateful spirit
Well, she just
all the time.
she hates him because they're Warren. That's why. Like, come on, like.
It's just like she's not even interested in Warren, depending on your playthrough, and just like, yo, Warren asked you out. Yeah, depending on your playthrough, it's like, Warren's not even on my radar, dog. Can I get the so Life is Strange is in like a franchise? Like we're talking Life is Strange 2 as well.
Yeah, you could say he's in Life is Strange 2.
Okay, is it Life is Strange 2 then?
He's in it.
Okay. Is it Sean?
No.
Oh, it's not Sean. Okay, I got one more guess then. Because I said Rachel and I said Sean, and it's in Life is Strange 2. Someone you relate to it in terms of like a spirit animal. I'm not gonna say Brody. It's not Brody. Definitely not.
You'll kick yourself.
Although he is a journalist. And he I'm gonna say Brody.
Yeah,
Brody's my final guess. Is it Brody?
No.
Who was it?
So I have two. The main one is my main one, and then the second one. So the main one would be Dave Madsen, Ponytail Dave.
Ponytail. I was like, wait, which Dave Madsen?
Yeah. That's why I said he's in Life is Strange too as well. It would be Ponytail Dave.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Ponytail Dave. I think there's just a. I like with that character. I like the retribution he has. Like, you know, this kind of like redemption arc as well. It's like he's so complete with where he's at. That's why I said before earlier with like Karen, it's like she's so chilled about everything and she's kind of like living the life that she is, and she's not going to just change her life because of X reason. She's just wants the person to acknowledge why she's had this lifestyle. And same with like Dave, who kind of like quote unquote like inner peace a little bit. He's like making what's it called? What now? He's made peace with like what's happened in Arcadia Bay, depending on the decision. He's like, you know, made this kind of relationship with like Max and Chloe. He's kind of like had his own. Dave Madsen's, I always say, is the complete character. We had this on a podcast episode where I was like, he's a very complete character, and for me, he like embodies like everything I like about someone being like a spirit animal. Dave, in terms of in Life is Strange 2, he's just like this really chilled out character, and very much acknowledgement of who he is. And I think when you see him as well, like he's that character, like when Michel's tweet where he said like you can have a red flag as a character, I think you do the same with Dave Madsen, because by the time he gets to Life is Strange 2, like, actually I love Dave. It's like he's a great guy, etc. All this. So Dave Madsen would be my pick. But more so as well, like I have to say this as well as an honorable mention, is a very close honorable mention, Max. I love Max.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, like it just seems like so obvious because obviously she's like the main character of the first Life is Strange, but Max, I just relate to Max so much on so many different levels. Like if we didn't have Ponytail Dave in like Life is Strange 2, it would just be Max, because like Max, just like everything she does, from her walk to her like humor to her kind of like dry sense of humor as well that she has, actually, to her personality, it's like I am Max. Like I just like see Max. I'm like, yeah, I just everything about her, I love her. So it's like it would be those two characters. It's funny that you said Rachel Amber, because I know Rachel Amber, my favorite character, but I would have to distinguish it from like a spirit animal character.
Yeah, because it's different from having a favorite character to like the character that you define yourself as. You know, I can see that.
I think it would be the same as like doing like your favorite Life is Strange games versus the best Life is Strange games ranked. I think like there would be two different lists, because you'd have to have something like I think BTS would rank really highly for me in like my favorites, but then it wouldn't be in the best if I was ranking them as just a purely objective kind of view, sort of thing. So those two are my real spirit animal characters. I really relate to them. I think that they're two of the very relatable characters that I have. But you also, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, you have three guesses, and I now I have two in mind. Neither of them are in Life is Strange 2.
Why? It's the best game. So I just don't know why you hate Life is Strange. I'm not joking.
I'll guide you because you gave me at least a guidance. Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm.
Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm.
And I have 2 in mind. So if you can guess one of them in 3 guesses, you're not going to get one of them. It's like you're like not
some like mushroom in the middle of a field. It's like you've like picked out. It's like
it's the squirrel in Life is Strange 1. Yeah. No, it's not the squirrel.
I think Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm. Let's have a think. I'm going to put myself out a limb here. I don't know why, because I think the characters in both of the games is Frank Bowers.
Oh, you got to guess one. You got to guess one.
Oh,
that's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Frank Bowers.
Let's pick that apart.
I related.
Why Frank?
Because Frank, like, if you know me from this podcast, you don't really know me in real. I'm not talking to you, Adnan. I'm talking about the audience member. Like, you know me from this podcast. Like, I relate a lot. If you see me working in the kitchen, like, I'm Frank Bowers in the kitchen. But Frank is just this character who has this kind of like what of it attitude. Like, what are you doing but like he's a dog lover. He cares about Max and Chloe deep inside. He just can't put it off because of his clientele. You know, he has to put on this sort of facade that he is this like don't mess with me or you'll mess with my business kind of thing. But deep down inside, he's this kind of person that is deeply caring and loves animals. He rescued Pompidou, and just a dynamic character. He cared deeply for Rachel, you know. So I relate a lot to, like, I would say that's it. So because you got it in guess one, if you can guess the second one, I'll give you another 3 tries for the second character. So because you got Frank in first.
Would Frank be your first pick then, or is the other person?
Frank is my first pick. Yeah, Frank is the first pick.
I really like Frank. I really like him.
Yeah.
Especially, I think more so as well, even BTS as well. I like the extra exposition as well with him. He's just like, I like the character, how they wrote him. The actors that played him as well were all great. I think he just has this style with him that he fits so well into that universe. And it's quite interesting to have a relatable experience with him because like he is a very complex character out of the ones I've seen in the series.
I'm going to give you, like, the audience members, I'm going to give you a picture. When I was washing dishes in the last restaurant I was in, and this person was playing Pokemon Go, so they were catching a Pokemon when I was there, and I'm giving off like Frank energy. So,
oh wow,
can see that
man needs that's a shiny Machop as well.
Oh my god, kill me. Yeah, that's me working in a dish pit. So when I say you don't
clean the beans,
it's like if you don't know me from a kitchen standpoint, there I am in a kitchen standpoint. So
there's our Frank Bowers for the Life is Strange TV movie show casting sorted, played by Adam Evil. Sorted.
Yeah, so I got that Frank Bowers in me. But so 3 tries for my second, and I will say Before the Storm.
Ooh,
I will
BTS.
give you that guidance. Yeah.
How interesting. How interesting. It's not a Chloe's creepy like stalker guy, is it?
It's not him. Would you like that to be your first guess? Yeah,
I remember his name.
I won't give you that as your first guess. You just had to throw that one out there. So no, it's not. Dang, what is his name? Just so forgettable. I can't
see.
Whatever.
What I find interesting and sorry, completely throw it off a tangent, and we'll come back to something. Is that you didn't mention Jacob in Life is Strange 2.
Oh yeah. No, Jake too. Like, it's just like Jake is like he's not forgettable. It's just kind of like he plays his part in the story. He does play his role, and just like I think he's meant to be kind of like one stand role. Like, hey, let me do this favor for you, and then let's go about our separate ways. You know, like he's just there, kind of the service role, but he's got his life to live. You know, he wants to save his sister and then go. So I don't know. I don't really mention Jake a lot just because, you know, But no, Jake is not in my spirit animal. I don't see that as me.
Well, Jacob, we need to talk about at some point because you've passed your days and stuff. I remember when you talked to me about it, and you're like, it's just like the relate what you saw in the 4th episode of Life is Strange. Then you see, your connection to the character and your personal experience. Yeah, that's what I mean. That'll be a deeper podcast episode. We'll talk about that because like that's like in itself will be a fascinating conversation to listen to.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. Either way, back to Before the Storm. This is really interesting.
You have 3 guesses. Because I won't give you the creepy guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Really try to stop myself from saying Principal Wells, right? Just like,
go ahead, say Principal Wells. Just like Guy in Authority, just drinking on the side.
Is it Nathan's dad?
It is not Nathan's dad. No.
That was a really big.
So that's guess 1.
That was a really big gamble. That one that I threw out there.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna get him.
I think. Oh, I can't remember his name now. Right, my brain is. It's 7:30 here, man. It's like my brain is frazzled. It's like, oh my god, is it Drew North?
No, not Drew North. That's a good guess though. Nope, it's not Drew North.
So do I gamble on Mikey North now? No.
Yeah.
We have really blown this now. This lead that we had, great.
Yeah. He's in
really
the first episode of Before the Storm.
First episode of Before the Storm. Oh my god.
First and the second.
Mr. Keaton.
Mr. Keaton?
Yeah.
No.
The teacher.
Nope.
Oh.
Ready
Who
for
is
this?
it? Go on.
Skip Matthews.
Skip
Matthews. Let's go.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot the skateboarding dude. Oh my.
Yeah, just a guy who's in like a security job. And I believe his name is Skip Matthews, right? Skip
I believe it
Matthews.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, like I just want to make sure that guy's in the. Yep, I'm right. Skip Matthews, just like some guy who's just working a security job just to like pay his dues to be in a band, you know? And like when he calls out Chloe, like, hey man, just don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Like, I don't care enough to do this. No, that is definitely, I am definitely a Skip Matthews kind of dude. So like,
is that
not Nathan?
Is that why you relate to him more so because like his like laissez-faire approach to the attitude of the job?
Yeah, where he's just like he's in that level of security where like he knows he has to do his job to get paid, but at the same time he's like going to Chloe like, come on, man, come on. Like that's how I would be in a security job. I would be just like, I would be doing my role just to like make sure it's safe, and then I would just be like, dude, don't make me do this. I'm not getting paid enough to do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows off his music to Chloe. Like, yeah, I'm just like some guy in a band, but I'm also doing this just to get my paycheck. So, I relate a lot to him.
Actually, yeah, that's an interesting shout. That Skip.
Yeah.
Skip and Frank. That's an interesting. Yeah. Just to extend this topic a little bit longer, I wanted to do it as say if we just like, because obviously it's easy to kind of like gravitate towards the Don't Nod characters specifically, and I mean Skip is a bit different because it's Deck 9 as well, but like say if it's True Colors, is there anyone who you pick out? Who would you pick out that if you had picked someone?
I have somebody. Actually, immediately have
it's not
somebody.
Jettison, is it?
No, it's not Jettison. It's everybody's spirit animal. It's everybody's spirit animal. Can you guess who it is?
Is it it's Gabe?
No. It's everybody's spirit animal.
Everyone's spirit animal?
Everybody.
Why do I feel like I'm
like literally everybody's. When this game released, it's like I relate a lot to this side character NPC.
Oh, bald guy.
Yeah, angry bald man.
Angry bald.
Just screaming internally.
Yeah,
it's on the phone. Yeah, you read his thoughts. It's like
I like that touch that they did in that game. That was really nice touch.
Yeah.
Like, with true colors.
Just an eternal scream. So yeah, and Angry Bald Man, and also Gabe. Gabe is my spirit animal.
I was Gabe, but
yeah, Gabe.
That's a good pick. Yeah, I would have to say,
but also Angry Bald Man.
I'd have to say it'd be Angry Bald Man for me as well. But I think Ducky, I really like.
Yeah, I was about to say I think it would be Ducky for you. Just the guy who wants to play a gnome and drink for free.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite Life After Strange interviews that I did as well for that as well. It's like, who listens to that man for hours and hours, talk about like his life and stuff. And I think like Ducky's just one of those people where it's like, I feel for him, man. Feel for him. It's like just so wise and great. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. It's a lot short of a topic. I think we could round off here actually, and we'll go more towards like the Life is Strange vein of it. It's like, if it was an animal, what would you consider your spirit animal to be?
Oh, if it was an animal. So
like we're talking about the actual like the proper Life is Strange core kind of thing.
Like Pompidou.
What, a dog?
Pompidou's my. Well, yeah, I would be a dog, dude. Like I would be just like loyal, but I would also bite intruders. I pee on lawns on the daily, so you know I'm definitely a dog.
So your spirit animal would be a dog.
Yeah,
a dog.
Yeah, I pee on lawns.
What kind of dog?
Pompidou. Whatever dog.
I was like, you have to be a Life is Strange character. I mean, like just in general, a animal.
Oh, it just said. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not like a Life is Strange character. Like we're talking about. Like,
what other animals pees on lawns? Because I do that on daily, dog.
I think it's just dogs at this point. I don't really know any animals.
Orca whales, maybe. My spirit animal. Oh man, probably a bear. I'd be a bear.
A bear.
Like they'd be just. Yeah, they're like scary, but they just like to nap all day. It's just
they do
just like I want. Yeah, it's like, man, don't get near. I'm just like, dude, don't make me eat you. I just want to take a nap.
Oh, mate, I remember seeing this on the internet. It was like a really freaky video where this guy's like, he's like walking through the forest, and he like finds like a bunch of like giant leaves in front of a hole, and he picks it up.
Yeah,
and it's a bear hibernating, and I'm like, and he like puts it back, and I'm like. I'll be like putting it back, and I'll be like slowly like getting that.
Yeah,
that's like no.
That's what me. You would see me. You would pull back some leaves, and it's just me hibernating. Like, oh god, it's
so like leave him. Then you hear like the chef bell, ding 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 ding, and it's like he wakes up. Yeah, I would slowly put that material away and be like, I'm like walking away. By the way, as well for reference, and somehow if you one day save your life, don't run from a bear. Don't run.
Yeah.
Do not run.
Just outrun the other person.
And you're also not going to outrun it as well. So just be like pretty specific with that. Put a rationale in your head that do not outrun the bear. Do not run away from the bear, and you're not going to outrun the bear. So just take that in mind with you. But no, bear is a very good choice, though.
I would say a bear, yeah, for sure.
Yours? I would say mine would be a fox. Because
they pee on lawns?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I knew it.
And that's simply a podcast. That's it, and we're done. See, like, I like foxes. I just think they're quite magnificent creatures. I think the way that scurry as well. I'm kind of a bit of a scurrier as well. Waggle around.
Very in tune with nature. Like they're very in tune with their surroundings. They're sly. They just like.
Oh, well, I don't know what you're playing there. Like,
yeah, it's like. I would say yeah.
I think fox would probably be more for I'd pick at this point. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. As I said, it's a very light-hearted topic, nothing big. No, we've had like really big, substantial, long episodes, and this was a bit more of a calmer one. Before the storm happens, I imagine a lot of stuff will happen. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next couple of weeks, months. But yeah, just a casual topic. And in the meantime, tell us your Life is Strange spirit animal characters that you relate to. It'd be nice to hear your picks in there. So Adam, spread the arts.
Yes.
You go first.
I'm gonna do a wild one here. I am becoming a huge advocate, and this is becoming an art. I'm becoming a huge advocate for the social media Channel 3. Like Channel 3 is a really fun alternative to everybody's like moving on to Threads or Hive or like something else that always just like you're just updating your status and then try to build a brand off of something else. When I said this before on Twitter before, like, oh, you should go on Channel 3. I don't think people understand and I didn't either. Like when someone said, "Oh, go on channel 3," I'm like, "All right." It's like social media, but for gamers, and you build up XP from different like missions on the thing. It's made by this guy who I believe he worked on not Life is Strange, Last of Us. He does he's a professor at Boston University, I want to say, in video games. Like he's a video game professor, and he designed this social media platform to play games on. So essentially you're going on there, you have daily quests of like video game trivia and finding a target within like a Fortnite map. Like, where is this picture taking place of? You build up XP. You can do these daily quests where you answer questions about video games. Like, do you stand during video games or do you lean during video games? Like one of those things. So the community is great. The community is very welcoming. They just like talking about retro games. They like talking about just nerdy stuff in general. So I'm saying it's an art form because of the way Joel Willis designed Channel 3. Like it is definitely above and beyond all other social media platforms, because it's not just you're putting up a status and calling it a day. There's like missions involved. There's events. Like, so like Channel 3 community, like they organize these events and they say like, hey, come do this or come to this live stream, and you get XP from that and you unlock different things. So it's fun. I say go on Channel 3, check it out. You know, use my referral link because I get XP if you use my referral link. But yeah, it's a fun platform. It's really fun.
Yeah, do you know what? It's interesting you mentioned that because, like, obviously the big news was Threads that came out, and I've refused to download it. I'm not doing that. I'm just not committing to another social media app. I'm done with social media. But it's like if you look at the phone, the average one, you're gonna have all the social media apps. Like Snapchat is forgotten about, and it's a huge demographic for younger people. Like I just don't use it, but like Jesus Christ, it's like everything for young people. Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Those would be your main players. Yes. Instagram.
Yeah.
Those 5 would be your main players. And then obviously you have all the clones that have happened, like the Blue Sky, Mastodon, Truth Social, etc. That's like those have all come and gone. Be Real as well. Like there's so many social media apps. I think there's so many social media apps that have come about, especially with Threads as well being the latest one. I think, and my personal prediction is, I was just thinking about this myself recently, in the next 15, 20 years, I think we'll see the demise of social media. But I think we'll see a demise, not in the sense that, like, I think you'll end the monopoly that will exist with, like, Facebook and Twitter, more so because I think you're going to get these decentralized pockets that open up. So it's going to be the communities that open up. It's going to be like little Reddits that keep popping up. So people will move away from like Facebook and they'll create these like little communities of social media places. Like even the gaming industry as well is doing that with like Twitter. It's like they use Twitter because it's like centralized for a lot of their communication. But it's like that's like for that platform. It's like you don't see it on Facebook, and you see it with different hubs of like different industries where certain places you thrive more because you meet people that are like-minded or relatable. I think this is going to happen in the next 15, 20 years. I think you're going to see a very big skew in the social media landscape. I don't think it's going to be the exact same way. I think you're going to open up pockets. Whether it's echo chambers or not, I don't know, but it's more so you're going to open up pockets. So it's going to have like these little gaming communities. You're going to have like extensions of like subreddits and stuff, but there'll be like actual active social media apps. You go to them because that's what it gives you. But yeah, I'm just done with social media. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
isn't it?
That's what I mean. That's why I like being on Channel 3, because it's not really social media more than it's just like a good time. And then you connect. It's more like Discord than anything else. Like social media, just put up statuses. Plus, like what you were saying, like it opens up pockets. And it's like I know the maker of it. Like I know the guy who is making Channel 3. So it's a lot more accessible. It's like what you said, like with Threads, it's kind of like, oh, people are going over there. It's like, I'm not connected with that. Whereas the guy who's making it, Joel Willis, he's very connected with the community. He used my music, Cast a Garden, in one of his live streams. Like, it's just very connected community. So, whereas like, just a social media, just for social media's sake, it's just, it's not an art form.
Yeah.
You know what? Channel 3, it's an art form.
Yeah. Well, Threads is an example. That it's a Twitter clone. It's going to be I keep saying to people, look how much data Meta is harvesting from it. It's the same as Facebook and Instagram. It's like ridiculous the amount of data that they're harvesting.
I think it's owned by Meta, isn't it? Threads.
Yeah, of course it is. I think it's Instagram extension.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's owned by Meta, so it's like they're doing the exact same harvesting that they do on Instagram and Facebook with Threads. It's like it's limited. It's like it's very much almost like it's like a Twitter clone, but it's not as effective as Twitter. It's got all of Facebook's regulations and guidelines in place. It's not available in the EU because it doesn't meet regulations. So you're missing a huge chunk of countries there that can't access it.
Yeah.
And people keep saying it's like, I've seen the media drum up. Oh, it's the Twitter killer, and it's all this. Google Plus had like 10 million plus subscribers in a very short time. Remember Google Plus?
Yeah,
that went well, didn't it? It's like, do you remember all these other services that had like success start?
Yeah, the only social medias that matter if you want to build a brand is Instagram and TikTok. Those are the only two that actually matter in terms of, because Twitter is just slowly dialing. People are leaving. Facebook, only older people are on Facebook. When you really think about it, especially in the music industry, it's hard to make it in the music industry without a TikTok. It really is, because if it doesn't blow up on TikTok, it doesn't really blow up in general. So TikTok has become the new radio.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm still not sold on TikTok, because people always say to me, like with Facebook, they say it's like, oh, it's boomer book and all this. Facebook's still the biggest social media platform on the world.
It's
and like
the
Meta,
biggest, but it's the most active,
Yeah, it's still the most active.
Yeah.
It's still the most. They register about 2 billion people per day. It's like, it's outrageous that. And it's like, what's even more scary is like per day, usually with Meta, it's like 3 billion people. That's almost half the world's population. That is like actively activating one of their services, WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook, etc. So it's like, it's scary for that. And TikTok doesn't have monetization policies at the minute. It's like, the thing is with TikTok though, is that TikTok's so far behind in even reaching Facebook at the minute, because it's not got the same streamlined policies that like Facebook has, like in terms of like nudity. You see all kinds of grotesque things on TikTok. You see all kinds of data being harvested from that. There's always going to be the questions about China and stuff like that's going to pop up in like the federal government and other governments across the world. So it's like, for me, that platform's good in certain senses. It's also, I think, still temperamental, if anything.
It still has that thing, but for right now, a lot of people in the music industry and a lot of people in podcasting, they just say they don't know how it works, but they get so much, in fact, like I said before, in the music industry, that when you sign on, they say these are the TikToks you need to make. Like it's like TikTok is like the thing to be right now, but nobody understands it. Like not a single person has said, like, here's how the format works. Nobody knows. It's such a wild west.
I don't think it's that. I think I'm going to argue. By the way, enjoy this conversation we're having. I think there's a difference a bit. Like, no one knows how to crack. I hate when people say, "I know how to crack the algorithm." You don't. No one knows how to do it.
It's not even on YouTube. Nobody knows how to crack the algorithm.
No, because if I keep saying to you, like this video, subscribe and stuff, it doesn't work. It's just that is just what has become the norm and accepted. And same with like even TikTok. People put like FYP hashtag in the page on their videos because they want it to put in your For You page because they think it ranks. It doesn't do anything.
No.
What I think it does is TikTok basically, instead of like if we posted this podcast, for example, say if we started from the very beginning and no one watched it, if we post it on TikTok instead, at least 4 or 5 people will see it, because TikTok is going to have to roll that out to someone. It rolls it out eventually. It does this algorithm thing where it rolls out, because most people will use a For You feed. So it's going to be like you're just getting fed different videos off algorithms and you see things that you'd never see before. So that's why I think it's the most effective, because it exposes you. So like even if you posted one of your music clips, for example, on any other platform, you probably get 1 view, 2 views, if that, maybe. Experimental. With TikTok, you're guaranteed, because the algorithm is going to push that video out because it's going to see if more people should see it. And if it does, then it'll go advance to more people. It happens with when you sign up to TikTok, they want you to make videos first and then spread it out to a lot of people, because it's like, oh, I've got 400 or 500 people I've watched this. Is that cool? It's like, do people really like me? Then they start making more videos, and the videos views start clocking down and stuff. So it's like there's a little hidden metric there with that. So I think it's a weird platform, but nonetheless, social media is a big conversation, and it's good that we kind of completely gone off topic with this for the Spread the Arts.
But my Spread the Arts is Channel 3, by the way. Just want to put that out clear. Channel 3, social media. Sign up for it. Follow me at Destroy the Grave. Go for it. I'm also Cast a Garden on there. You can follow me there. But It's fun.
Yes, follow him and don't just notice the moment when my AirPod popped on my head. This sums up my day so far. So my spread the arts is going to be, I'm going to come back to Final Fantasy 1 last time. So basically, I mentioned it that I played the demo. I had a very good experience with that. I'm not into the game. I really can't get into it. Like I have a friend who absolutely adores it and like is like loved every minute of it and stuff. I just can't get into it.
Like, I love when people it's like, good, you spent your money wisely. I'm glad you're enjoying it, but for the most part, it's a crappy game.
Yeah, for me, like, it's not a bad game by any stretch of imagination. It's too reimagined in certain ways, which I don't like. I think like Final Fantasy has like lost a lot of what is JRPG for me personally, and I feel like that's going to be like something that Square Enix is really going to have to address. Like for me, like the consistent mainline entries have been so weird and so like all over the place for Final Fantasy. Square Enix have really had to struggle to kind of get something out in certain circumstances. But for me, like this game is heavily inspired by Game of Thrones. Like the developers have spoken openly about the Game of Thrones like inspiration and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so inspired by it. It's like the medieval setting, the kind of like all the other aesthetics with it. The combat's been like almost like, you know, it's been completely redefined. It's very Devil May Cry-esque as well. So it's good and it's enjoyable for the gameplay. I just can't get into the story. The story's lost me.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those people who played Final Fantasy 13, and no matter how much criticism it gets, like people criticize the combat and all this, that I still felt the story was enjoyable and you could get into it because it felt a Final Fantasy story. This one, I'm just constant. I'm so tuned out of it. It's like so difficult. Like it's a beautiful game. It plays really well. It's enjoyable. It's etc. But for me, like I'm so mentally checked out of the story at this point. When we finish this podcast later tonight, I'm gonna play it one more time and see if I can just get into it and play it. If I can't, then I'm done. Done.
Yeah. You know what game you would be into? What game you would be into is the games over on Channel 3.
There's one last plug for that. One last plug, and we're gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave mine simple. Mine was more of I'm still so confused about Final Fantasy.
It's more of like a not like a warning, but just kind of like, hey, just letting you know, Final Fantasy 16 ain't it.
I just don't know. I don't know how to make my feelings up about it. Like Michel tweeted about it, and I saw it. It's like he's like, obviously, you know, it's great visuals and stuff. I'm like, I completely agree. Great visuals, great soundtrack. The gameplay is fantastic. All these great things, but the story for me is just not as. I just can't get invested in it. I just don't like it, and it's like for me, it's like when that's a turn off in a Final Fantasy game. It's like what's left as well, because I played through all 15. It's like, you know, that game was like in development hell, 10 years plus in the making, etc. I played it years after its release. I got to play the Royal Edition, and whilst the story falls off a cliff towards like later stages of the game, it was still enjoyable because I enjoyed the main characters, and there was still kind of like the story still felt the essence of Final Fantasy. It felt very fantasy like, and more so like Japanese fantasy like. Not this is like almost fantasy like George R.R. Martin meets kind of thing, and it's like you've had that so much with all these other games that have happened from Software and like etc. Elden Ring. It's like I don't want to see this in a Final Fantasy game. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And it's a bit streamlined, but anyway, I think we'll call it a day here. It's been a rough ride. There's been all kinds of things that have happened in this podcast. But I hope you enjoyed the episode nonetheless. And if you did, please do consider dropping to subscribe, turn on notifications, like, and share with your friends. Again, it helps support the channel more than anything else. Helps you keep up to date with our content. And also StrangeCast is available on all podcast services, so you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for a new episode of StrangeCast. Until then, take care, and we'll see you later.
Later.